Good morning, Elevation Health friends and family. Thank you for joining me today. I just got back from my morning workout and a nice brisk walk. And so I wanted to share with you something that I was reading about, some new research that's come out to confirm the benefits of brisk walking and the differences between just a regular walk and a brisk walk. And this is, I think this is important. So with me here as I kind of walk through some of the intricacies involved with this particular study that just came out recently. And you and I both know that walking is one of the easiest ways to improve your health. It's really hard to come up with any excuses these days because you don't need any special equipment. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need a complex routine or, a personal trainer, although all those have value. But for brisk walking, you're hard pressed to come up with a reason why not to do it. You could do it anywhere. You could do it during a short break during your day. If you're at work, you could do it in the morning before you go to work. You could do it in the afternoon. You go around your neighborhood if there's a sidewalk. I mean, it's one of the easiest things to put into your daily routine. Most of the conversations that you hear gurus talk about really has been how many minutes you go for, 45 minutes or an hour or a couple hours. How many steps did you click off for the day? Are you doing your 10,000 steps a day? And all these measures they're important for keeping track. However, there's one most commonly overlooked factor here with the potential for the greatest benefit for you that you could be missing here. And that is the speed of your stride. That's right. The speed of your stride. How fast are you walking? This was recently published in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine. They followed almost 80,000 adults from different backgrounds, and they did this for almost 2 decades. They looked at walking pace versus walking time, overall duration. And they looked at the benefits with all the walkers. They looked at, how fast they were walking, and they looked at how long they were walking, and they broke it down, and they found some amazing results with this. And just to let you know, the brisk walking, what is brisk walking? How do you know if you're walking fast enough? Well, authorities define this as a sense of moving at a faster, deliberate pace. In other words, pushing yourself, not just, casually strolling and listening to the birds and watching the cars go by and, just really putting one foot in front of the other. I mean, that may have some emotional benefit, mental benefit. However, the brisk walking that we're talking about, that's going to have a cardiovascular and overall metabolic and health benefit, a little bit different. Your heart has to work harder. Your breathing deepens compared to just a casual strolling. And you're able to talk and maybe have a conversation, but, you can't sing. You really have to, work to pace your breathing while you're talking. And, you're so probably somewhere around 2.5 to 3 miles per hour, just so you get a sense of the condition that we're talking about here, really intentionally pushing your pace. And so the results of the study showed this. Brisk walking lowered the risk of early death. Now, you may have heard some of these benefits with just regular walking or other forms of exercise. However, the participants who reported brisk, deliberate walking in their daily routine, these people in particular showed a clear survival advantage compared to those who walked just at a slower pace. And the benefit, honestly, they said it didn't really require a lot of effort. The authors found that walking as little as 15 minutes a day, fast walking as little as 15 minutes a day, that's a short amount of time, right? They found this was associated with nearly a 20% reduction in total mortality. So the protective effects of brisk walking was really strongest against deaths caused by heart disease, cardiovascular conditions, many other benefits, but in particular this, because that's the number one disease killer. So that was significant. Does slow walking have other benefits? Of course, it does. And they found it was similar in terms of having cardiovascular benefits. Brisk walk, when they found in this study, it also acted as an aerobic workout. Many of us picture aerobic workouts as like, Jane Fonda and some of these other people jumping up and down and doing box jumping, running sprints and things like that. But similar benefits aerobically were found with brisk walking. And it was described in the study to help regulate weight, fat burning, blood pressure, and reduce, any risks tied to obesity and poor metabolic function. And we're gonna dig a little bit deeper into this at our upcoming workshop, the diabetes reversal and blood sugar control workshop. We'll show you how it plays a role in that. But there's so many other ways walking benefits your overall health. And you may have forgotten that it strengthens your bones, it strengthens your muscles, it enhances what's called mitochondrial function. And so what is the mitochondria are the powerhouses, they're the little energy factories inside of each cell in your body. And so walking stimulates the creation of new mitochondria, enhances the function of the existing ones, and it improves how efficiently your cells are able to produce energy. And so the research pointed to all this, showing how regular walking activates also these genes in your body that are linked to slowing the aging process. So we're talking about anti-aging here, right? We know also that it supports mental health and cognitive function. And so as far as your emotional health, reducing stress, anxiety, a lot of the symptoms of depression and anxiety can really be affected positively by brisk walking. You have the production of endorphins, it sharpens your memory, and it just really boosts your overall mood, especially when you start your day like that. Not to mention boosting your immune system. It strengthens your body's ability to fight off infections and reduce inflammation. How important is that? And last but not least, you always sleep better on the days that you exercise, don't you? I know I do. So how important is sleep when we're talking about overall health? Regardless of if you have a heart condition, if you have a blood pressure issue, if you've got, if you're trying to lose weight, if you have a blood sugar issue, diabetes, a good night's sleep is the beginning of helping stabilize all of those conditions. And these are things that we know, but we want to bring into fine focus today as we move towards our next masterclass event. I will say one other thing. If I had a nickel for every time I had a conversation with one of my patients or somebody new that I'm meeting, and we talk about exercise as a catalyst to get you moving in the right direction. The response sometimes is I can't exercise. I'm in too much pain, and I understand that. And a lot of times it's knee pain or back pain or neck pain, and I just kind of wish people would look at their spinal health like they do, their dental health or dental hygiene. You normally, most people don't wait for tooth pain or a toothache or a cavity to go to a dentist. Most people know you should be having regular checkups to prevent these things because you save time, you save pain, and you save money. And so we know about dental hygiene, but I think we need to do a better job of educating our community on spinal hygiene. And most people I find sitting in my consultation office, after they're in pain, after it starts interfering with their ability to exercise, something that they love to do every day. They're not able to do it because of the pain. They're not able to work around the house. They're interrupted with their sleep. They're interrupted at work because of their pain. And what I'm saying is that I love helping people, feel better and get well. But I think more important than getting well is staying well and preventing sickness, disease, and pain and disability, preventing that in the first place. Wouldn't you agree? That's the smarter thing to do. And so subluxation, misalignment of the spine is ubiquitous in the human population. And having your spine checked on a regular basis is the most important investment that any individual can make in their life. Because when your spine collapses, everything else in your life is affected. And it really gets down to what we're talking about today. And so making sure that you can make regular deposits in your physical bank account. And that means taking care of yourself with getting regular checkups. It means taking care of yourself with regular exercise. It means taking care of yourself with good nutrition, a regular sleep routine, and all these things. But at the top of that pyramid, which has preeminence over and above everything else, is proper nerve supply. Because if you don't have proper nerve supply, if you've got subluxation, your friends, family members, loved ones, if it's shutting down vital nerve supply, it doesn't matter how fast somebody walks. It doesn't matter how often someone exercises. It doesn't matter what supplements a person takes. If you're disconnecting your brain or distorting the communication between your brain and the cells in your body because your spine's out of alignment, doesn't matter what you do, it's all for naught. So please make sure you're applying the message that I'm talking about right now regarding spinal hygiene, spinal health, optimum neurological function. And even more importantly, share it with your friends, family members, and loved ones, because other people deserve to be well also. And so thank you for joining me today. When it comes to improving your health, your life, you can learn a lot more about this at our upcoming workshop. It's coming up Tuesday, November 11th at 5:45. You can call our office, the number on the banner below. We're doing pre-registration right now. Seating's limited. We always run out of seats for this particular workshop. So thank you so much for joining me today. I love and appreciate you. God bless.